Jasmille, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys like the new look. It is a wig that I'm rocking right now. It is dreads and I think they're really fun and really cute and fun way to switch it up. I want to talk about Love is Blind because wow, I liked it so much that I started watching it again with my mom so I can get my mom into it, but this is not really her thing. But then I started watching it again with my sister who lives in New York, and she freaking liked it too because it's funny, it's entertaining, it's corny as hell. You can't believe that it's real, but you like fall in love with the two main characters. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's like all over the internet. I'm watching it all over my YouTube. Like, it is big now. It's one of Netflix's most watched, not most watched, but it's like trending. I think there are so many good lessons. It has a lot of drama too. So we're gonna talk about, I just want to talk about the lessons. Like, I want to speak to my women out there, you know, be confident in ourselves, to grow within ourselves, to be ready for the next stage in life, which is commitment and marriage and family and everything, and to be aware of the red flags you have within yourself and the red flags that you see in other people. So I feel like it teaches a lot of lessons. And I told Shallon, I requested Shallon to do a video on Love is Blind, and she said she's gonna do it. She's just watching it, she hasn't caught up yet. And Shallon Lester is on YouTube, and she is one of my queens on like gossip and just celebrity gossip, but also like dating lessons. And she talks a lot about the psychology that we can learn from TV and celebrities, and just how to respect ourselves more as women and how we can do more work in ourselves to be the best version of who we are. The first couple that I want to talk about is Lauren and Cameron, because I fell in love with them. I think Lauren is, I don't want to put them on a pedestal, but him and her, they were both epitomes of people that have really grown into themselves, that have not fully formed because they're still growing and evolving and everything, but they just were really secure. They were really confident with each other and within one another. Individually, they both had their own lives. They both had security, and they were both driven and ambitious, but they were just looking for their other match. So I think they were both emotionally and physically secure and 100%, and they were just looking for another alpha to partner up with. Cameron was the ultimate alpha male. He was strong, he was secure, he was sensitive, he wasn't afraid to cry. He got really emotional because he was really vulnerable, and he knew how to tap into that side of himself. And they were both vulnerable with each other, and they were both able to see each other's sensitive sides, and they were both able to cry with each other and connect with each other. And I feel like they both found their shadow selves. They both tapped into that part of themselves, and that's what I feel like really emotionally bonded them. And they both just like were in sync. Like, it was the right time for them, and it was great that they met through the show. So I feel like another big thing about them is that they both respected each other, even if they had disagreements and they didn't match up 100% on some topics or some things, because you're never gonna be 100% completely agreeable with anything in a relationship because you're two different people from two different backgrounds. They were both so respectful of each other. They never raised their voices at each other. They never swore at each other, from what we could see. That when you really love someone and they're your person, you really want to respect them, and you never want to make them feel low or make them feel wrong or make them feel bad. Go, shut up! I definitely don't have relationship experience. I'm still working on that, and I'm still working on myself. But from what I've seen from the show and from what I've learned from podcasts and different interviews about relationships, you never want to disrespect someone to the point where you're like cussing at them and yelling at them and making them feel really bad. Go! Okay, so the next couple that we're gonna talk about is Jessica and Mark. And not poor Mark, but yeah, poor Mark, because he really liked Jessica. I can't with this freaking dog. What are you doing? Stop barking! Stop barking! We can't get him to shut up on the other side of the wall. He's just gonna join us. So Mark fell in love with Jessica, right? And that's a red flag with him as well, because he did fall in love with someone that wasn't completely into him. Come on, Coco, come on. Breathe. Oh my God. He was only 24 and he still had a lot of growing up to do, and clearly they weren't meant for each other. She rejected him and said that she wasn't feeling the same way he did. And the only reason she came back to him was because she was rejected from another guy. When you're dating, you're gonna, especially when you're dating multiple people, you're gonna have connections with people and everything. And I get that you're gonna have strong feelings for different people, you know, but I just felt like when you know, just like Lauren and Cameron, they both knew that they were each other's person. So I feel like it was sad that Mark had to go through that, but he should have seen the red flag when Jessica rejected him in the beginning. And they say that sometimes couples break up and they come back together and, you know, they last forever. And obviously they tried that. Mark took her back. Mark proposed to her, but it was a mess. And they just weren't strong enough in their bond. They did like each other. They did have a bond, but it just wasn't that strong. It wasn't that deep. And they just were in two different places in their lives. And he definitely needs to have more self-value because Jessica didn't value him at all. And it was really sad to see that. And then Jessica was playing with Mark's head and feelings, and she was so confused and she was so contradictory and she was so insecure, and she couldn't get past his age and what he did and if he had enough money and his physical looks, and it just obviously wasn't a strong bond and they weren't each other's persons. Another couple is Barnett and Amber. So they had a lot of issues too. Barnett was a player. He had multiple connections with different women, and Amber, she was one of the youngest in the shows, and she also was not in a great place in life. I felt like she has a lot of psychological things that she needs to work on and a lot of mental health that she could work on. Not that she's crazy, just that she really hyper focused on Barnett, and she was like, this is it, there's nothing else, I can't live without him, I can't, you know, get over this relationship if it ever ended. She wasn't 100% full. Like, she still needed to work on herself. But in the end, they did work out. They have been married. But in the reunion, she did say that they fought a lot and it was really, really hard for them, and that she was even wondering if they should get a divorce. Barnett, on the other hand, he did make a choice. He did switch from being the player, fuckboy kind of guy that was playing with a lot of girls' emotions, but he did pick Amber, and he stuck by his decision, and he proposed to her, and throughout the whole show he was with her and he was really great with her, and he even was able to surpass all the temptations and all the like challenging times that could have broke his decision. He said no to Jessica when she was like trying to test him about, you know, their love, him and Amber's love. And he was also able to get past the fact that Amber was in a lot of debt and she didn't have savings and she didn't have a job and all that stuff. So I commend him for that. I commend him for being an alpha man, and he stuck by his decision, and he chose her as his woman and his wife, and he said yes at the altar, and he married her, and he took her in and supported her. I feel like that was really great. I don't really want to talk about Kenny and Kelly. That was the most shocking one for me, because I really thought that Kelly, the girl, the fitness instructor, I really thought that she was as much as in love as he was with her, and she's the one that said no because she said that she couldn't get past the physicality. But Kenny was a really good looking man, not my type as well, but he was really good looking man. He was an alpha man. He was very, very secure and stable and a really good person, and it looked like they were good physically because they couldn't keep their hands off of each other. And they also didn't have sex, and most of the other couples did have sex and did connect emotionally in that way and intimately in that way. So I thought that they looked like they were good, even though I felt like they were kind of like not really being completely honest with each other, not really having as much deep talks as Lauren and Cameron were. In the reunion, she said she's still single and she's still working on herself, so clearly she had insecurities and personal problems that she didn't share on the show as much as we thought. And then Kenny found an amazing woman, and he has a girlfriend now, and he's paired up with her, and he says that he doesn't regret what he went through with Kelly's. Damien and Gigi, they surprised me a lot in that they both are really, really stubborn. And even though they did have a bond, I felt like they just weren't as alpha as Lauren and Cameron. They weren't as committed and strong emotionally. I didn't like the fact that Gigi threw a lot of temper tantrums and was really violent with him and called him names and yelled at him. And yes, you can have discussions and you can talk to your partner and try to be vulnerable and get everything out on the table, but you don't have to be so rude to them, so mean. And then Damien was really stubborn as well and really didn't let his vulnerability out a lot. And I feel like he wasn't alpha and he wasn't like strong enough and secure enough. And actually he's the one that said no at the altar, and then but eventually they got back together and they're still boyfriend and girlfriend. But I saw an interview with them and he said that he still doesn't know if he wants to marry her or not. So I just feel like they're the type of couple that they realize that they do have a lot of work to do on themselves, and they both aren't full yet, but they both really love each other. And I don't know if it's a toxic relationship or not, but I feel like after a year or so, if your man doesn't know if he can see you with him for the rest of his life and doesn't want to marry you, I feel like that's a red flag. And I just don't think that they're right for each other. And I think they both still need to work on each other to become alphas independently. That I want to talk about is Diamond and Carlton. They got proposed, but they didn't even make it. Carlton hid such a huge part of his life. I don't even care that he's bisexual or fluid. He was so insecure. He was such a beta man. He was very rude. He was very he needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of therapy. I knew I didn't like him from the first episode where he walked out on someone when they were talking in the pods because he found her boring. I thought that was really rude. I feel like an alpha man would never disrespect a woman like that. He's very volatile. He's very abusive. And I'm happy that Diamond walked away from him. I'm happy that she didn't take that. I'm happy that she was strong enough that she left. And I think that she is still working on herself and still trying to figure out what she wants in life and try to be the best version of herself. And I'm happy that she accepted his apology in the reunion, but she still says no to a date because he still wants to date her. He still wants to be friends with her, but she's saying no because like when they had that argument, I thought he was almost gonna hit her, even at the pool in the night when he threw his hat off. I don't like when men do that. I don't like violent. I don't like anger. Once you see like angerness in them and them treating a situation in a way that's really volatile and they're very insecure and they're very emotional, but in a toxic way, you have to get out. You have to get out. You have to run. And that's what I'm happy that Diamond did that. It's not even about him being fluid. It's just about how he treated her after they were engaged and how he went about handling the situation, because all she wanted to do was ask questions and get more clarity. So yeah, those are the lessons that I learned watching Love is Blind. And I'm so happy for Lauren and Cameron. They've reached like millions of followers online. They have their own YouTube channel and they got like 300,000 subscribers in like a week. But I'm so happy for them. They deserve it. They're really good people. They seem genuine. Their love seems genuine and real. And I can't wait to keep up with their life. And it inspires me for my love life and for my life in general I'm gonna keep working on myself and keep being full and keep just working on my mind, body, and soul. And I pray that I find someone that's dedicated as much as I am to keeping their mind, body, and soul healthy and to always keep growing and evolving. Bye.